everyone, this will be episode 21. Pretty sure that's right. If I'm wrong, it'll be underneath. Yeah, back to another episode. This episode's going to be hopefully a bit different. Put it up a bit of a notch in like energy and different stuff we're going to do. So you get to talk to Dad today. He's back from his little trip away in Europe, so you get to talk to him. You get to see we're finally starting to fit out the bottom of the bar, so we're getting our glass racks and stuff like that. I brought this glass cutter so I made one up for the wine bottles, but it kind of wore out really fast, so I brought this so it's a nice easy little rig and I can change the little cutting piece on it. So got that so I can go through all the wine bottles soon and cut all those up, so you probably see a bit of that today. And I've got to show some people around that are looking to do with their Christmas party here, which will be our first booked-in Christmas party, which is quite cool. And then other than that, it's just the same old. Like I finally, after the old man got back, can finally finish reconciling all of the zero for the last 6 months, so we can get our BAS in, which is important. So I think a lot of people that start off businesses, especially if they're GST registered, especially if you've got incoming cash, it's a major player. If you're only spending money like we were really in the start, especially for the majority of this time, obviously because we're getting up and running, like our tasting rooms are open, we're not really selling anything. We do events here and there, but that's not crazy income. So if you're taking in a bunch of cash and you got cash going both ways, people I think start off and forget about it. I've heard a lot of really bad stories about people like starting their business, being GST registered because someone told them it was a good idea, and they had an LLC instead of a sole trader kind of setup, and they didn't put away any of their GST that they're supposed to pay, right? So it gets to BAS time, the government goes, here, you actually owe us $6,000. They go, fuck, I've got $200 in my account or $500 in their account, and they stress out. So I think it's important for, like, the accounting side is actually really important for the back end of stuff, because the tax side of things will catch a lot of people out, whether it's unreconciled accounts, whether it's BAS statements, whether it's, especially for distilleries, whether it's excise. There's a bunch of things that can eat away the back end of the business, so it's important to have good accountants and people that understand the back end of accounts. And I think I'll always, especially because I'm doing most of it now, 90% of it now, especially the reconciliation side and the inputting and the coding. It's important that I oversee that for a lot of the time, and that I know enough about it so that when I can step away and someone else comes in, I know what went wrong, or how that person might have got mixed up, or how I can fix other situations. So it's important if you're starting your business to know that, not just feed it off to a bookkeeper. You might not be great at that, and you can definitely step away and give it to a bookkeeper as soon as it makes sense. But I think it's really important to know that sort of shit, so that at least have a good understanding and be over it, so you understand what's going on when they try and tell you in meetings what's happening. You don't just look at them blank faced and not understand. So that's something that I've taken away from the last few weeks, and it's been really good. But other than that, guys, enjoy the rest of the episode, and hopefully it's one that you all like and something a bit different. You get to talk to Dad a little bit more, so yeah, see you at the end. Woo. Like that. Beautiful. Fucking lush.
Hey, welcome to Dave's first instalment of getting to know your business. One of the things we want to do with this project is let people know about all those things in business that no one ever tells you about when you're starting off, and I think it's just crazy because everyone has an opinion, and I'm sure that for everyone out there who's ever started a business or ever discussed starting a business with friends or family, most people are probably pretty negative about it, and those who support you, really in most cases don't even have the knowledge to understand, unless of course they've been in business for themselves for some time. But before we get to that, I just want to have a quick update on Grandad Jack's, as you can see, and what you would have seen in Luke's blogs and vlogs. All the construction's finished now. We're just waiting on the still, and we had notification this week that the still should arrive in Australia on the boat around the 8th of July, which is fantastic news. So we're just sitting here hoping that everything is in the shipment and there's nothing missing, and then in a couple of weeks we can be up and running. So fingers crossed we'll get that working and going from there, because we're only a few days away now from this project hitting 6 months. So we're running a month behind, and that unfortunately has been all due to the still manufacturer and letting us down, and the delays in getting the still here. Otherwise we would have hit our 5-month target, absolutely for sure. So that's good news we've had this week, and we hope to carry that on. So now getting back to small business and starting small business. I think I know when I first started my own business more than 20 years ago now, my first one, I was really good at what I did in the way of the service and the product I offered, but I was pretty shit at running a business. And I was pretty shit at running a business because no one told me anything about running it. Everyone had their sort of own ideas, and they all told you these bits and pieces, but no one really told you what it was about. And what tended to happen is, people will tell you, go write your business plan, go and do all this stuff, which is all great. But at the end of the day, whatever's in your head is what you got to run with. Whatever your gut feeling is, you got to run with. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're supplying a service or a product or whatever that is, just run with what's in your head. If you feel like you can put that down on paper, then that's good. It is, I think even now with Grandad Jack's, we really documented what we wanted to achieve as a brand, and I think that's the key here. Too many people starting business get carried away with business plans and financials and all that stuff. And let me tell you, you can write down any bloody bullshit number on a spreadsheet that you want when you start your business and live in a dream world, hoping that that's going to be true. When you start a business, your spreadsheet and your numbers are only should be based on what your overhead's going to be, not what your revenue's going to be. Forget about your revenue, because you got no friggin' idea what your revenue's going to be when you're starting business. You're only guessing. And if you put a number down on that bit of paper that someone's told you should do based on whatever information you've had, forget about it, scratch it out. But what you do need to put down on those bits of paper are what your fixed overheads are. So for example, if you're renting a premise, whether that be a small office or a warehouse or a workshop or whatever that may be, storage, make sure you have that cost. What's that going to cost you every month? Make sure you have the power in there. Take a good guess based on maybe where you're living, where you're renting, who you're flatting with, what your power bills are, what your phone bills are. Take a good guess from the neighbour. Maybe there's a neighbour that you're moving into your warehouse or your office. You can knock on the neighbour's door and ask them, hey, what's your power bill a month? What's your phone bill? Put some real figures. You can actually get those figures pretty darn close if you ask the questions at the beginning. It's super important to understand those overheads, because once you understand what the overheads are, you know what it costs you to run it every day. So every day when you wake up, you can break that down to, okay, all of those numbers add up to this much a month. It's going to cost me every day I open the doors to my office or my factory or my warehouse or my workshop, it's costing me, say, $300. You know, as soon as you walk in there that day, you've got to make $300. Not turn it over. Not sell $300 of a product, make $300. So understand your margins are the next thing I would suggest you really get a good grip on. But as for spending hours and hours and hours writing a business plan, forget about it. I think it's the most ridiculous thing anyone can ever tell you to do. And unfortunately, we still have these stupid banks who live in their little corporate dream world out there who expect all these great business plans. And I can tell you from experience, over this last 20 odd years working for myself, I've done a stint with corporate, and in fact worked in a reasonably high management role within a public company based in Sydney. And I can tell you, even in a public company scenario, those hours and hours and hours that get spent on business plans with the head executives and the managing directors and the CFOs and all that, no one bloody looks at them. It's just absolute crap. So the best thing you can do in business is write down what you want to achieve. So what I don't call a business plan, I call it a marketing plan, because marketing's where it's at, right? It doesn't matter what product or service, whatever we're doing, it doesn't matter, because everyone can do it. For example, we can be here at Grandad Jack's, we can make the best blinking, what we think's the best gin or best whiskey in the world. It's not going to mean diddly squat, because there's a million other people out in the world that can make great whiskey and great gin. There's one thing that stands out that's going to help us stand out above the rest of the world, and that's our brand. So whatever you do in business, the number one thing, and where all your value is always going to be, is in your brand. There's no value in any service you do, there's no value in any product you have. None of that's worth a damn thing when you don't have brand. Brand is where you need to focus on, whether it's your personal brand, the brand of your business, the brand of your product. Don't focus on the stuff. Like, don't focus on, it's my whiskey or my gin, or I'm a mechanic, I'm a great mechanic, or it's my car I sell, or I sell this perfume, or I sell these roses, or whatever. Because everyone can do that. We live in a big wide world out there, and we can all find out how to do whatever we want. The power you're going to have forever is your brand. Build your brand. I can't put that strong enough. Brand is the most important thing you'll ever have in your business. So, if we go back, we talk about understanding the overhead. Number one, do that first. So, and do that first in the line of before you do your marketing. So, you'll come up with your idea, what you want to do. Do a bit of research, see who else is doing it in the market. There will be other people doing it. If it's not in your street, in your country, in your state, there'll be someone in the world doing what you think. Believe me, you're not going to be the first one to think about what you're doing. Someone else is doing something exactly the same or similar, somewhere in the world. So come up with the idea, brainstorm that idea, really do some research on the old internet, find out what other people are doing around the world, and then just get stuck in. Because having a go is the number one thing. I meet too many people who tell me they want to do something but never do anything. Never ever do anything. The first thing you got to do is actually start, right? If you don't start, you're never going to know. I think one thing I've learned over the years is how to minimise risk. And I know in the early days, I think my first business, I was 19 years old. I didn't have any idea about risk or stress. I just knew I was good at in those days painting cars. But that's all I was good at. As I said at the beginning, I wasn't good at running a business. So you learn that over time. But what we want to do with these segments is have you come into us, ask some questions, come see me, and we can talk about it. If you've got an idea out there and you've been talking to your family and friends and they might be saying, don't do that, it's too risky, whatever, more than happy for you to come and have a chat with me, and we can think about things outside the square. That's how I've lived my life. That's what's allowed us to be able to build this amazing venue and start to build the Grandad Jack's brand. It's the most important thing, as I said, brand. So don't let anyone tell you can't do something. I've lived my life. If someone tells me I can't do it, it makes me more determined to do it. I also don't agree with everyone, right? And it's not bad to disagree with people. Everyone has an opinion, and I think too many people in business and in life generally take someone's opinion as a harsh criticism of them personally or their business or their whatever it is. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. If I enjoy having conversations with people from different walks of life and different businesses. Guys and girls who work in corporate and who work for themselves or work for small business. Everyone's got their own theory on what goes on, and I think that's interesting, and we should all be able to have our opinion on what that is without offending anybody. I think if you're in business and you can't have a conversation with someone else without them being offended, then they need to harden up a little bit, because we live in the real world here and we're all allowed an opinion, and I think an opinion's good. It makes us. Sometimes people tell me something I'm not that happy with, but it makes me think about it. It makes me revisit what we're doing, and sometimes you make the changes, sometimes you don't. But it's much better having these opinions than having nothing. I will say though, don't take every opinion as gospel. Don't take it as it's perfect, it's the truth, it's the way it should be done. At the end of the day, as a business person, starting a business, or someone currently in business, trying to grow it, at the end of the day, that business is your drive. You have to be the driver. If you're not the driver, if you don't get up every morning enjoying it, don't do it, get out of it. The other thing I get asked a lot of too, you know, people ask me, I'm going to start a business, what do you think? And you know, even before they tell me what they're going to start, I have one question for them, and I have one question for everyone viewing this now who's thinking about starting a business. Are you starting it to make a lot of money? Are you starting it to be a millionaire or a trillionaire or to be world famous, whatever that may be? If you answer yes to any of those questions, don't start your own business. Trust me, do not start it because you will fail. I know that from experience. The very day that I realised, and it took me too long, and I want everyone out there not to take as long as it took me, the first day I realised, get up every morning and do what I do really, really well in business. Don't focus on money, but do what I do well. I'll wake up one day and money will come, and that can't be any perfect than the truth. That's what's happened to me in business life, but it didn't happen until I stopped focusing on making money. You can't be successful in business if you get up every morning focusing on dollars, making a dollar, making more money. You won't win. You will win if you get up every morning focusing on doing what you do really, really well and the best you can, whatever that may be. If you do that, at some point, you'll have money, trust me. So, you know, business is not an easy thing. You've got to love what you do. But I think when you start a business, you're going to get to the point at some point in time where you start to get up in the morning and you know, you really start to think to yourself, it's not a job. There's very few of us out there, unfortunately, who are appreciative enough to be able to get up in the morning and go and do something they love to do. It doesn't feel like a job. I haven't woken up in the last 10 years probably and felt that I was going to work. I enjoy every minute of what I do. Not every minute of it's fun, for sure not fun. Some of it's absolutely frustrating, some of it's super stressful to the point where, you know, some days you just want to give up, but you can't, right? You've got to harden the hell up, get back up on the horse and have a red hot bloody go at it, because if you don't have a red hot go at life, this is going to pass you by. And the reality is we're a long time dead, right? We don't have that long on this earth. So if you're someone out there who's wanting to have a go at something, who's wanting to do something for themselves, go and have a go. But do those things I mentioned earlier in this video that you should look at first. And please come see me or send us a message via Facey or Instagram to Grandad Jack's. If you're in the Gold Coast or Brizzy or close, or you're coming past the Gold Coast, come say hi, come into Grandad Jack's here, say hi, and I'm always happy to sit down and have a chat with someone who's looking at getting into business or someone who's currently in business. I love it, it's my passion. So any questions, make sure you send us a message, and I look forward to talking to you all next time. See ya.
I suppose we'll start this little afternoon chat off with something that I actually haven't spoken about, which is why we came up with why we chose the Too Busy for Bullshit, Too Tipsy to Care as our underlying writing under the brand, I suppose. We were playing with it, and we were playing with what we'd use for that, and it was something I was already saying. Well, I was already saying like too busy for bullshit, and we kind of played with it a little bit and made it fun with the Too Tipsy to Care, and it's just something that rings true to what we normally like as well, and what Great Granddad was like. He was really too busy for bullshit, so that's as simple as it gets, really. That's how it rolled with, and we said it once and stuck with it, and then put it on everything we
Now
could.
it's the brain.
Now it's the brain, I think that happens with a bunch of good brands like that, just kind of happens on the whim and works out.
The good stuff just happens. Like, you know, I mean, if you're sitting around talking enough like we do, you just come up with stuff you can't just sit in a room and go for 2 days or a day with a whole group of people and brainstorm and come up with the perfect thing. You know, the big agencies will tell you that, but you know, I don't know. I don't believe. I think the best ideas come when you're not really thinking about them. Yeah.
I think that creates something that's like true to a brand's nature as well, especially like small business side of stuff. Like it's easier for a big brand to spend all their money on coming up with a new thing, like like Woolworths for fresh food people or whatever. Yeah. It's easy for them to spend $200,000 on 6 people sitting in a room and fucking looking at stats and wondering what they should make it. But
And it's someone's opinion too, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone's got a different opinion on what they want to, on what they like or they don't like or whatever. So I think you just, if we like it, we like it. Like,
Yeah.
isn't our attitude if we like it, well, cool. We've got half a chance other people like it if we like it, and the ones that don't like it, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Go drink somewhere else. Don't drink here. Don't sit in front of too busy for bullshit, too tipsy to care.
That's it.
Go sit somewhere else, you know. It's like life's too short for us to worry about all those little people's opinions, you know.
Yeah. I suppose something you said before as well, like how we often sit around and like chat, brings us to another thing, which is like our day-to-day problems.
Yeah.
Which is like we always sit around and chat and always like do that, but we always forget to film the cool conversations that we have. So that's one problem that we're trying to work through.
It's a
we're
challenge.
all trying to work with, because I think some of the best shit comes out of those kind of conversations, and we forget about it.
Yeah.
Don't get it on camera when we need to. So that's a
challenge. This is we're learning this gig, right?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge, you know, and we don't have the finance to have Jack follow us for 24 hours a day everywhere we go, which some of the big budget guys do. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. You guys tell us if you're enjoying the story so far. Then let us know, because feedback's always good on this sort of thing, especially when we're doing this journey for the first time. It's and there's so much we even forget to talk about, right? Like we only just really. I got back from holidays Saturday night, and we only really talked about what was going on in the business today, and we're already Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like it's
hard
because everyone's trying to catch up again, and
you're going through shit that's important, and you're having meetings, and and your day kind of gets swallowed up.
Yeah, it does. I think, and also there's so many things that we can't. We're at that point now. There's so many things that we can't do because we're waiting on other people. I mean, this still thing has been a freaking pain in the ass.
And waiting on other people's been a constant issue, like all the time. Like up until the building was stripped out in a few days, and then we're just waiting for approvals and builders, and then the building's finished, and now we're just waiting for a still, or little parts we're just waiting for the sparky or the plumber, and obviously the world doesn't revolve around us, but it's just those extra things that you forget about, and that not everything can happen the day that you think it might, or it definitely has to. So it's just
painful.
It's painful, but that's especially part of setting something up like this, like this product game where you need the equipment and you need a space and you need all these other bits. For a service it might be a bit different, but that's been the most painful thing for me. Even waiting around on people, like in terms of meetings, if they're late, and the other people and your next meeting's then late, and then everything just pushes forward, and it can fuck up a whole day and a whole week. So. But
that's the game we're playing, right?
Yeah.
We're in this business thing, and that's what we've got to put up with, and we can't let it piss. And we can't let it. It does piss us off, but we can't let it get us down. It's the way it is. We just got to make the most of it and make it work for us, not. But at the same time, we can't let these other people who are not supplying us or not doing what they said control our destiny. We got to control the destiny, not someone else. So. It's a prime thing at the moment. I mean, we don't know if that still's going to arrive next week. If the shipment turns up, is it all on there? Is there parts missing? We don't know. We're at this point now where there's so many things out of our control that we can't fix. We can't physically do it ourselves. We can't put the gas in ourselves. So we've got to wait. So it's up to them. We're at their mercy. We can't put the steam boiler in ourselves. We're at their mercy. We can't ship the blimmin' still here ourselves. We've got to have a shipping agent. So there's all these people now that are holding up us opening, and they don't really give a shit about what we're doing.
No, they don't.
Because they're going to get their money at the end of the day anyway, aren't they? They're going to send us a bill, and we're going to have to pay them, and they really don't give a shit. And I think. It's a shame, but we're not the only ones in this boat.
Yeah, and there's plenty of other people that have got it much worse as well, and we've been caught up with.
But there's a lot of positives,
We're here. We've got enough time to get it.
We're here. We've
got
a great building. We've got we've got events now out to October. Probably it'll only be a few days away, and we'll have stuff out to December, I reckon, with people wanting to do private events in the building. You know, my gut feeling tells us we'll have product by the end of August.
Yeah, mine too.
I think we'll be open. The bar will be open. The distillery will be open for the public by the end of August. I think the next challenge is that we're going to have the bottles, right? So now we've got to wait on bottles. Like,
Mid-August they're supposed to come, and the main, especially on the distillery side of things, the main issues we've had for anybody that's ever looking at doing this is bottles, labels, corks, the actual still, and the steam boiler has been like the 5 top things we've actually had problems with. The building, there's little bits here and there, but it's easy to like meet up with the builder. It's all these people that you can't actually spend much time with face to face and get your point across about exactly what you need, and especially you don't have the full knowledge as this is like our first one. If we didn't know, if someone came back and asked us a question that we didn't know an answer to, it's another fucking day emailing someone else that you can't just ring.
And you're gonna wait,
and it's just waiting and waiting, and that just adds days, weeks, months on in some cases. Like, with the still, like there was a month where we couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, on the 15th of July, we're 6 months in.
Yeah.
Like we should have been up and running in 5 months. But if you think about all the delays we've had with different people and the still, that's cost us a month.
Yeah.
Well, and really, it's going to be 5.5 months before we got product. 6.5 months before we got product. Everything going well from this point on. So we're going to be a month and a half behind schedule, but that's due to not our planning. It's not due to our planning. It's due to suppliers not having product, to suppliers not supplying what they said they were going to supply on the right time. Weather's been a little factor, but the weather in hindsight hasn't been that bad during the build. Like,
we've made it work.
It's worked. So, but now we've got the extra challenges, right? Because now we're a month. We're going to be a month and a half behind. Best case scenario. So that's a month and a half of no revenue. So now we're sitting here and we're lucky we've got this event revenue starting to come in, which is fantastic. But I think the thing I'm concerned about now is that we've got this momentum. We've got this momentum starting with the brand and Grandad Jack's, and we've had all this stuff, but now with all these people waiting for us to open. Yeah. And I'm just concerned that if this
we push it too far, we lose
the momentum.
And we've got heaps at the moment. And I was even worried about that drifting from the end of July into the end of August. And luckily, enough people have stayed around with us that long, and they're happy with how it's going. That they're still excited and keen to open, and we've still got a lot of support. But it doesn't take that long to discourage people and make people forget. And it's just about keeping those relationships with the reporters and the channels and everything, and keeping their Instagram up and Facebook up.
And then I think, all you guys out there, hang in here, because we're not stopping, and look out. When all these suppliers do actually finally supply us what we need, we'll make shit happen fast. So, we'll work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day if we have to. That's just how we work, to make sure we've got product and good product. And Blake, our distiller coming over from San Diego, he's been so patient, far out. Like, Blake, if you're watching this, sorry mate, this is not what we expected at all.
To let everyone know, we were planning to get Blake over here, when we first ever spoke to him, towards the end of May. And then, we had the first lot of issues with our stills, and then it was, added on another month, and then it's been, it's shipped, and then it's not shipped, and then it's, added month on month, and then he's had a few things over there, which you can't blame. So then that's added more time on there, so... It's been painful, but luckily we've really nailed the space and the building, and we haven't had I haven't had a single person come in and not like it straight away, and I'll be
the building's got I think the building's just come up so well, really really well.
Yeah.
It's just now we've got to get that momentum right, because I think we've got a few things going on, but it's not busy enough for us. I don't feel busy enough. There's not enough shit we can do, and until we get product and we can open a bar and we can start selling some to the small bars around the Gold Coast and letting them understand our product. And
I think when we're open,
do more online, and now we're content's a bit too, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to get content when when we haven't got enough going on. We're in this sort of. I think we've been here before. Like I remember at some point in the last 5 months, there was a time where sort of nothing was happening.
Yeah, and it's hard, like coming up with new stuff to do and picking days. Like we're not available every day to do this because I'm still working at Black Ops because I still need income, so I don't take cash out of this business. So I'm away, so I can't do every day. And Jack's working his normal job, so it's not every day he can do it as well. So it's kind of working that in, and in with the budget and everything. To make it all work out.
So we've got some visitors coming here now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
But following that, just someone coming in from Hotel Miami, which is like the co-working space, just a couple of doors down. They're legends, but this is kind of like how it's been working within the community. People just pop in and say hello and ask us what's been happening, or
the community here is just. The community here is just next to nothing I've ever been involved in, this Miami community.
Yeah.
Like even the business community, the people that walk past, all the businesses here are so friendly. Like it wasn't like this when we had the cafe up in Pack Pines, or
and even on events, people on events can be fucking snarky.
Yeah, people at events can be mental, but here it's just so chilled and relaxed.
And I think a big part of it is that when people, and I've said on other episodes as well, when people know you're trying to contribute and you really want to help grow the space, people love it as well. Like people are just as keen as you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, if every time we step up our game, and every time someone else steps up the game, it'll make us want to think about other things differently. And sweet. So we've cut out a couple of times. We're just losing battery, so we're going to try and fit in this outro real quickly because we've got about a minute or something left. So we're just having a chat. We're going to add more like this into our next episodes. Us chatting more now that Dad's back and we're kind of in a groove of things. Trying to pump up a little bit of the music, and just we're really glad that you guys are all watching and commenting. And don't forget to ask us questions and just comment below with.
Well, come see us. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, we're even thinking about doing like a Wednesday Arvo drinks and just having people ask us questions and us just freely talking and getting to know you all. So comment below as well if you're keen to do that. And we've still got a little bit of merch left, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, and some wooden boxes. So let us know if you guys want those as well. There's plenty of pictures of those on Instagram.
Get it on. Get the merch on you. Get the boxes on your bike. Come on. Get the brand out there.